I welcome everyone to the official meeting of the governance working group of the CNCF. This meeting is being recorded, so don't see anything here that you wouldn't want to see on YouTube. And also we are subject to the CNCF Code of Conduct. So with that said, we have a light agenda today. So Victor, if you have brought a project, problem, or question, that would be extremely welcome. We have lots of time for it. Let's actually start with introductions. I'm Josh Burkus. I'm a co-chair of this working group, and I work for Red Hat.
And I'm Dawn Foster. I am also co-chair of this working group, and I work for VMware.
I'm Victor Liu. I'm an independent right now.
Okay, cool.
Welcome. So are you here with a specific project, or are you here just to kind of see what it's about and maybe
yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I join a lot of meetings, so just trying to figure out where do I fit and where can I contribute. I have some ideas, so mainly for this group, really learn, especially Josh has been a big database expert, so I might, if there is somewhere that needed database expertise,
okay.
I'll probably contribute.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, this team has nothing to do with databases. This is the paperwork committee of the CNCF almost. As in, it's our job to advise and review projects on having the paperwork that they really need to actually be a real project. Particularly the having actual rules and transparency and public meetings and ways for new people to rise to leadership. To that extent, we provide and work on a lot of templates and documentation for projects, and we do direct support of projects with governance questions, and then also review some projects that are applying for graduation.
Yeah, even so that's at least that's not like a need any development for any particular project. So yeah, I'll see whether I can anywhere I can contribute. I'd definitely love to. I have time. So
okay, well, cool.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, well, we've got a few things on there. I was just helping a project update their governance in preparation for applying for incubating, actually, and it's essentially maintainer council. And I wanted to recommend some things to them, and I realized that these things were not actually in our maintainer council template. Like an explicit mention about why a maintainer might get removed, an explicit process for appointing people who would receive security reports, that sort of thing. So I think, it was the first template we did. So I think we need to add all those things in, ideally as part of finally writing the full documentation for that template. If I can squeeze out some time tomorrow, I will take a stab at that.
Perfect. Yeah, I know I said I would do that, and then I have sort of run out of time, and I'm scrambling to get things done, but I'm taking 3 weeks off at Christmas, so I'm realistically not going to get anything done until January. So if you happen to have time to pick up some of this, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, again, it becomes one of those things of I was going to leave it to you, and I have a lot of other things, and then all of a sudden I have projects that need direct help, and given that I've run that's come from at least 2 maintainer council projects in the last 2 months, it's actually going to be less of my time to update the template than it is to help them individually, which is the whole reason we have the templates in the first place. The okay, I'll take a stab at that. When are you taking off for the holidays?
Like I said, I'm out Friday and Monday, and then next Friday is my last day in the office.
Okay, so I'll try to get something turned around before you leave, just so you can take a look at it.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
And if possible, we might actually merge it before the holidays.
Yeah.
Although chances are I'll screw up with the markup somehow and it'll get delayed because it needs to merge with the website. So the terrible thing is I sometimes I've implemented documentation systems, but but using them is beyond me. So speaking of which, particularly because we have a TOC, readout on Tuesday, are we ready to propose that our tag get called in whenever a project is applying for graduation to actually do a governance review? Because a lot of these are coming to me through informal channels. And that's not really the way it should work.
I think yes. I think that's something that that the tag should do, and I think it's relatively low bandwidth, right? We don't have a lot of projects applying for graduated, so it's not, it's probably a few a year we would need to do. It's and like you said, we probably do this anyways. But I think it should be part of the process, because if we can head off any governance issues before it actually gets to the TOC, I think that would be helpful, especially given how overloaded the TOC is.
Okay. Well, and obviously the other thing I'm worried about is stuff getting approved for graduating without ever having had governance review, and then having issues later on. Not that I'd be thinking of any projects in particular, but the okay. So I will send a separate email to the TOC.
Okay.
Well, first I'm going to make sure that Catherine also approves this, because it needs to be approved by the tag. And then I'll send a separate email to the TOC, but say we're going to talk about it during the Tuesday meeting. Are you going to make the Tuesday meeting? Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
Do you want to do the update though in the TOC? I can't even remember who did. I think I might have done the last one actually. And I won't necessarily be caught back up after being off Friday and Monday, so it might be better if you could do it.
Okay. I mean, not that we're exactly high velocity these days, but so one of the things to add to the slide is, if you've actually provided any governance advice to any projects, I'm going to actually put that in under our working group. Since the last one, I provided advice to Cryo and Keycloak and one other, and I'm trying to, I'll have to search through my Slack to find the one other.
Backstage is probably,
okay.
Those were kind of informal discussions at KubeCon, but I had informal discussions with a bunch of people on the Backstage project about governance, because they're really trying to be a bit more exclusive and a bit more neutral, and get out of the Spotify doing everything.
Okay.
And I was gonna look and see. I thought there was someone else I talked to.
Anyway, drop that in the slide.
Okay.
If you think of the other one. Particularly because we're not doing so much work on the templates or other things that are visible on mailing lists these days. So we want the TOC to know what we are doing.
Captain was the other one.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. They've been kind of a single company project.
So we talked about contributor ladder.
Yeah.
So it was less governance and more,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of partly governance, but
yeah. One thing, if we ever get together again with the contributor working group, et cetera, kind of want to talk about making a simpler example for the contributor ladder. Problem is, the contributor ladder that Karen and I put together is, it's a burrito bar menu of everything you might possibly want in a contributor ladder, and I'm finding that it's being hard for people to use.
yeah.
The and because it's hard and confusing, they end up doing something themselves, which is often problematic.
Yeah.
Particularly, like, a very common thing I see is that they don't leave any path for non-code contributors to advance.
Yeah, that was exactly what we were talking about with Captain, actually, was they wanted like roles for things like community managers and other things. And so we were talking about how to fit that into the contributor ladder.
Yeah. So so if you felt like it, Victor, there are lots of things here for you to comment on. The
yeah, love to. Well, so, let me ask you. So, I know there is also like a mentor-mentees kind of events and all that. How, if I want to contribute to or comment, as I said, to this this group, what kind of a contribution I can for this group?
Well, we have, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff we've just been talking about is a lot of the documentation that we have. So things like the project templates and the advisory documentation. The so as an example, you know, hopefully before the TOC meeting on Tuesday, I'm going to actually open a PR to add extensive documentation for our most popular template, which is the Maintainer Council template. And it would be terrific to have somebody who's an independent contributor like you actually take a look at it and see whether or not it makes sense. Because the limitation that both Dawn and I have is we've been doing this open source governance thing for years.
Yeah. So even if for someone brand new to the community, you think it'd be helpful?
Yeah. I mean, you've contributed to open source projects before, right?
Not really. But
oh, really?
I'm
okay.
a database guy, yeah.
Okay. The well, you'll have to see then. The you know, because there's always the question of, I don't understand this because it isn't clear versus I don't understand this because this is vocabulary I don't have yet. Still worth calling out, honestly, because we don't get a lot of eyeballs on it from people who are not professional community managers. And of course, the people who need to understand the documentation are people who are not professional community managers. So don't hesitate to call it out. And if it's a well, actually this is a common term in contributing to open source, then we'll just move past it, but it won't hurt anything.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so how do I do that? I just the document you mentioned. How do I comment on that?
Well, I haven't opened the PR yet. You can also comment directly on stuff. So there's two repositories. One is CNCF/tag contributor strategy. And if you look in today's notes, we link to the issues and the PRs from that. And the other one is CNCF/project template. And you know, you are welcome. Yeah.
Once that PR has been created, as long as login to using my Google the Gmail account, I should be able to make update on comments on it. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's all these repos are public.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I one thing I do very well is because I read really fast. I read by page, so I usually get the bigger picture of a lot of things pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, if you go to contribute.cncf.io, we have a ton of documentation for project maintainers. So really any and all of that is open for review.
Okay. Do you mind send the link either in the channel?
Yep. So.
Just at the beginner, is it okay if I just send a comment to you directly first, so that I just
Well, if you can do it in the tag contributor strategy channel, it might be better, because
okay.
These are all kind of collective works, so I might not have written the thing you're commenting on. The so okay, so
So this is the top. This is the top page. Which particular section probably need more feedback at this point?
I wasn't honestly thinking of a particular section.
Okay.
Poke around, see what interests you, and then see how much sense it makes.
Okay. It'll be good background reading anyways, because it's the advice that we give to CNCF projects and maintainers and contributors about participating in CNCF projects. So I think it would be, it's good and interesting reading material anyways, I think. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'm not seeing any issues. The
yeah, there's no open pull requests.
Not shocked. To
be fair, Carolyn's been doing a great job keeping up with the pull requests.
Yeah. Why is this still open? Okay. I just closed something that we actually did literally months ago. The
adding Kathy to our TOC liaisons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why is it still
I was
open?
just looking at that one.
The answer is just we never closed the issue. So
yeah.
Okay. One of the things that's always, our rotational meeting thing is the sort of tag tweet of the week. I'm a little dubious about the value of sending out anything over Twitter these days. At least most of the people that I know who are CNCF project contributors have already left Twitter. And the CNCF has not decided yet what they want to do with post-Twitter social media. So.
What I find, because I've been doing my previous position, I've been doing sort of marketing myself, kind of a side hobby. What I find very effectively, other than of course going to the actual Slack channels, the community, is the LinkedIn actually have a lot of groups. Because if you just like post in like yourself, only your direct followers can see it. But if you post in a group, for example, there's huge groups like have 10,000 people. If you post there, you got 10,000 viewers right away. You know what I mean? There's some of the groups are huge.
Yeah, are there any like, I don't know, CNCF groups or something that we could post to on LinkedIn? I don't know that we've used LinkedIn
Yeah,
much.
they are.
Yeah, well, I
there are
mean,
quite a few.
there are? Okay, hold on. Can I'm gonna have to get into using LinkedIn, aren't I? I mean, we just did a Q&A for an event on LinkedIn yesterday. So you name some of those CNCF related groups, Victor?
I have not. I subscribe to some of them. I have not tried to post because some of them, when you try to post, they also the owner sometimes restrict what you can post. Yeah. I'm looking at one, for example, cloud computing, cybersecurity. I mean, there's the group have like 673,000 members. So if that, yeah, that's so those groups. I'm not sure they allow direct posting.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they do, that's yeah, you get immediate attention for 500,000 people.
So you've just found a place you can contribute right away. If you could poke around those LinkedIn groups and find ones that would be appropriate for tag contributor strategy related announcements, that is, and our target audience is basically people who might be contributors to cloud native projects or thinking of becoming contributors to cloud native projects. That would be super helpful.
Okay, sure.
Cool. And then whenever you have it, bring it to another meeting or just post it on Slack. Yeah. So one of my other questions is a lot of cloud native has moved to Mastodon. So one of my questions would be, in advance of the CNCF deciding to run their own Mastodon server, which I think is coming eventually, would we want to actually establish any kind of a tag CS account on, like, say, HatchyDerm? I mean, obviously this needs to be taken to the rest of the tag, but I don't know what the two of us think about doing that, because it would reach a chunk of our target audience.
Yeah. I think it would be a good idea.
Okay. Okay, so another thing for me to take to Carolyn and Catherine in the public Slack channel.
So, Josh, have you thought of creating your own LinkedIn group? And I think I can help.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that probably is the best. I think because this way, because there's so many things CNCF, right? So, like joining a generic one may not be that helpful. If you go ahead and create a contributor strategy group on LinkedIn, I can help promote that one and eventually get people join that one and make it that big.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how LinkedIn groups work dynamically, so you are our domain expert here. So I think it would probably also be helpful to know which other groups to promote it in. And
so
we want to target to potential cloud native contributors. And so the real question is, so one of the questions we'd have to decide is what we would call it.
Yeah, one problem I find on LinkedIn versus Slack is on Slack, most likely you got the engineers. On LinkedIn, you got a lot of people who are, how to say, they just want to get connected for some reason, either for
probably looking for jobs, a lot of them.
Yeah, so it may not always be the type of developers you're looking for. So that's kind of a concern.
It might be for another working group of the tag, which is the mentorship working group. Like actually for that, yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, so if that's not a concern, basically attracting people who are maybe trying to sell something. I don't know. If that's not a concern, I think LinkedIn actually, you can reach a lot of people really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it would be
yeah.
awesome if you could post some of these ideas in the Slack channel, the Tag Contributor Strategy Slack channel, and get some feedback, because Catherine might also have some ideas. She might know of some other groups. So I think maybe this is something that yeah, that you can help us drive and get feedback from the rest of the group that's not on this call. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think that's part. Yeah. So yeah, Josh, probably we can discuss next time. What do you think? Take a look at LinkedIn. I mean, I can definitely create a group and promote that. But I'm being a new member. I think it's probably good for you to one of your chairs to own that group.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, these are good ideas. So, and like I said, I think we want to coordinate with Catherine, who leads our sort of awareness campaign, and with Nate, who's the head of the mentoring working group, because to point out who will mostly reach through LinkedIn are potential mentees, which is actually a group that we want to reach. So
yeah, I mean, there are other ways I can think of. For example, among Slack and Discord, among, I don't know, 40, 50 workspaces. So there are different, there are groups, like, for example, EBT is one of the DBT, I think one of the data integration tool workspace. Surprisingly, it has more than twice more member than CNCF workspace. So there are definitely a lot bigger community out there that, I mean, being CNCF, being such an important, I think, influential project, it could be a much bigger community.
Okay. Well, thanks. So great ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, did we have anything else? Okay, we will call it a meeting, and I will go back to Dawn can go back to unpacking, and and I will go back to other things, like somebody's bugging me about social media for a different event. So let's see if I can, and updating the slides for Tuesday. So
yeah, I did a couple of the updates as we were talking, so hopefully there'll be a little bit less work you'll have to do.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's good to see you, Josh. Nice to meet you, Victor.
And welcome to the tag, Victor.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.